Campus Hustlers with Fatima Zakaria.
Attention entrepreneurs, this episode may increase your brand awareness by 100%. Hi, welcome to yet another interesting episode of Campus Hustlers, your weekly dose of entrepreneurial spirit unfiltered. I'm your host, Fatima Zakaria. I'm an entrepreneur, corporate event anchor, a voiceover artist, and of course, I am a podcaster. Joining me on today's podcast is Khalid Alawode, the 300 level student of mass communication from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He is a graphic designer who specializes in brand strategy, brand management, and brand journalism. Khalid is also a skilled speech writer and a dynamic public speaker. Hi Khalid, how are you today?
I'm fine. Nice joining you today. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited having you on my podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so Kali, let's go straight into the topic of discussion.
Okay.
Why graphics design?
I didn't plan to venture into graphic design that much.
Okay.
Then I was doing coding. I was learning coding. I finished with HTML, CSS, and I was learning JavaScript. Then I realized that CSS is actually used for designing web pages, you understand? Then I realized that I cannot progress very well in web development if I don't have some certain knowledge about graphic design principles.
Yeah.
Then I joined graphic design. Then I started learning graphic design with the intention of spending like 3 months, and 3 months is already 4 years now. So that was actually how it started, and since then I found out that graphic design is actually my path, not coding. And I cannot even enjoy the stage of coding nonsense.
Okay, I understand. So how has your university supported your entrepreneurial journey? Ahmadu Bello University.
Ahmadu Bello University.
Yes.
It actually supported greatly because when I started coding, then I was very aggressive because of the fact that during COVID, I actually wasted it, you understand?
Okay.
So I felt like, that I need to make up for it. So in AB Zaria then, after COVID, there was batch A, batch B.
Yeah.
So in the batch B, I didn't go home at all. So what I just did was to continue coding. Then I realized that, graphic design is then I started doing graphic design. That was the first way that ABU or my being in school has actually helped me. The second one is networking. Those that actually introduced me to graphic design. Let's say I'm not in ABU Zaria. I wouldn't have met those kind of people. Understand?
Okay.
And they actually motivated me. I collected some applications from them and recommended videos. So those are ways in which ABU also helped me. Another thing is volunteerism. That is actually volunteer to do designs for a lot of organizations and associations. So it actually helped me build my skills, and those are the fields that ABU has actually assisted me in.
Wow, that's so wonderful. How do you market your design service to your target audience?
First of all, how I market my design, it actually started when I was learning.
Okay.
Because what I did was that I'm someone that whatever thing I'm doing, I used to send it out to people, you understand? At least for people to be aware that this is the kind of thing I do when I started learning graphic design. So some of the modeling, I do model design in the sense that, someone has done this design before, I'll try to recreate it, then look for a way to make it better, then put it on my status, on my IG, though it was not really active, but sometimes I do put on IG. So that was the first way in which I used to market my design. And secondly, another thing I do is that I actually share my work process, you understand? When I'm working on Adobe Illustrator, I actually do screenshots of some of the processes of my design, then actually share it online, so people know that it is not really something of template, but people actually experience in my work process real life.
Yes.
So another way in which I market my design, which is the third way, is to actually brand myself, do flyers, to actually inform people that I do designs, and actually offer some kind of discounts for affiliate discount, and for those that actually do more than 2-3 designs. So those are the way, and word of mouth is actually very important. So those are some of the latent way of marketing yourself, because word of mouth is actually very important when it comes to marketing.
Yes, I get. So would you say that your target audience are students?
My target audience are not students.
Yeah.
They're actually business owners.
Okay.
They are those that are actually looking for a way to actually uniquely pitch themselves in the marketplace. Now the marketplace is actually very, very noisy, and for you to be able to like distinct yourself from others, visuals is very, very important. So that is
Yeah.
why I actually try to. I'm someone that actually like to be distinct, honestly. So I think that actually influenced the way actually for emerging business owners, brand owners. So those are the people I do target. Start to help them create unique visuals, to help them stand out
Yeah.
in the marketplace and stuff.
Okay, yes. So what social media platforms have been most effective for you in promoting your design work?
The most effective, I would say WhatsApp. Understand?
Okay,
And
wow.
why WhatsApp is actually very, very effective is that I have a lot of viewers, number one, but I'm more active on WhatsApp. You understand? Like very, very active on WhatsApp, and
Okay.
it helps me like keep a kind of close contact with compared
Yes.
to some other social media platform. That's
Wow.
number one. And how I do it on WhatsApp is actually send broadcast messages to people and for people to know my services, and
Yes.
they also help me share. Understand? So that's actually the most effective way. And the next one is actually Facebook. Facebook has been effective in some ways too.
Yeah.
Then LinkedIn too.
But WhatsApp is the most effective.
Most effective.
So how do you get those contacts?
First of all, I'm actually very, very principled when it comes to getting contact on WhatsApp because I don't save anybody's contact anyhow, because I believe that my WhatsApp is different from Facebook and LinkedIn, because
I get.
WhatsApp app is actually for me to maintain communication contacts with those that really understand each other. Understand? So but honestly, with that, I think I have a lot of contacts on WhatsApp. First of all, for any program I go to or any event, try to network, get to know people. Understand? That was first of all. Number two, there are some of those contacts that I got through like my secondary school people, university, and I'm very keen on, once I'm able to like establish a kind of relationship,
with
it won't
somebody.
end there. I'm going to collect the contact, and that is actually how I get contact. But one of the reasons why I feel WhatsApp is very, very effective is that those that will be promoting they've already seen what you post on your status. So like they will actually validate that this guy is actually very, very good when it comes to designing, and compared to like places like Facebook, you understand, which is more like a noisy place.
I get. How do you determine your pricing for design projects as a student? How?
To be very to be very, very honest, like you knowing your target audience sometimes actually determine your price and how you actually market yourself or brand yourself. Let's say I'm schooling in Lagos, for example. I know the price I will actually be. You understand? But because I'm schooling in ABU, I'm not saying ABUs, but I know that ABU is a kind of, they are actually very, 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 so actually
say it. They're actually very, very what? I want to
very economical when it comes to, you understand? Because honestly, in ABU or in northern part of like where in ABU, this side to be very precise, price doesn't actually give you what you want, but it is the number. That is, for example, you need to put your price in such a way that you actually get the highest number of people. You understand? Let's say in the southwest now, your price might actually determine your worth. You understand? But here in Zaria, or let's in ABU Zaria, they just want to anything as long as, you understand. So what they actually consider is, okay, if I can get this thing for 5,000, another person can do it for 3,000, and the design is actually looking similar, or if not similar, it's actually doing, because they don't have a keen for like they are not keen on good designs or whatever. They don't really have an eye for good design that much. So maybe it's just graphics. So in order for me to like, okay, what if I can bring the price down and also provide unique designs for them? You understand? So that is actually how I determine my price. And honestly, for students normally my price is, I will not say my price because you can actually come and negotiate. But there are some, as per student designs,
it's quite affordable.
We are very affordable.
Okay, yes, I get that point. But then, aside students, you do design for others that on LinkedIn, like or from WhatsApp, somebody linked you. They are not even students. You understand? They have brands. So how do you determine your price for such people? So now I want you to talk from a perspective that, oh, this person is not a student. I'm not trying to be like you understand.
So how I determine my price, first of all, I have a time price and I have a service price. So I bring both of them together. Now the time price has to do with, okay, the number of time or how stressful or how time consuming that particular design is going to be. So that can actually vary. But for service price, I actually have some price tag for certain designs. For example, now for my service price, this is for logo for brand identity design system. So I have like, okay, this is a kind of certain price for, you understand. So I don't really negotiate that particular part at all.
I guess.
But at some point in time, there are sometimes that, okay, I try to like consider the budget of those
Your
people
client.
that my clients. So I try to consider their budget. And once I see that their budget can only afford this thing, understand? One thing some people do, which I don't do, is the more you pay, the better the design is going to be. I don't like that because there are some, that means there'll be some design that I'll not even want it to be attributed to me because of those guys pay low and I design something, you understand?
Yeah.
So actually what I just do is that, okay, once I've seen like the way the brand is and I've actually given them my work, so my price tag at some point they will feel shy to be able to negotiate it because of how quality they see that it is. You understand? One thing I just do is that sometimes I try to put the price higher, so in case if there will be any negotiation, I will understand. But there's a one thing is just that I don't allow low price to actually affect my design. You understand? And if I can do it, fine. And if I cannot do it, but I feel they can.
I actually learned something from what you said. I learned that I should not allow the amount of money my clients pay to determine whether it's going to be of high quality or low quality. I should just know that my goal is to do a perfect, clean, neat quality work.
And they should be able to pay the worth of that.
Yes, I really get that. So what challenges have you faced so far?
The major challenge I've faced so far, I'll say creative block.
Okay.
You know, when there are sometimes that you'll be looking at the blank screen and where do you want to start? Like it is so time comes like in fact it drains someone mentally because honestly that's actually the most difficult part in design. And there's a maxim or maxim that people do say when there's some graphic design do say that is what makes graphic design very difficult is simplicity. That is the fact that you need to keep the design very, very simple is what makes the design difficult. And that actually tallies with what, okay, creative block. You understand? That was actually the first challenge I do face when it comes to designing. And the second challenge I do face is actually pricing because you know there are some times that we are all human beings and we have this kind of soft spot that let me just try to bring the design down. And but one thing I have actually realized that which some of my mentors in design and branding normally say is that the thing is that you pitch your works, you understand? You are not targeting everybody, you understand? You have people that you are targeting and those that you are targeting you be able to pay your work, you understand? But regardless, you know, there are sometimes that someone is broke and I just need to design like even if it's just 3K, let me just I guess you understand. That's actually the second challenge. And the third challenge actually is like getting people, customers, and that is actually very, very tough because there are some, especially in this part of the world where everybody is just on trying to like keep their budgets, like you understand.
So like, I will do it myself. What is it?
Exactly.
Let them see something.
Exactly. So what you just need to make people to understand here is that what just need to make them understand why they need good design. And then finally it has to do with what like some technical issues whereby at some point when you are designing for clients you're already giving them deadline and a lot of things are actually going to fail you. Probably the system itself, maybe the lights or maybe some other things, you know, some other things in our schedule that we actually try to that's actually very, very difficult and it is the most damaging because by the time you actually give a client a time or a customer a time and you're not able to meet up with that time, if there is no communication again, then forget that you've actually lose that customer and through that customer you are going to lose a lot of people.
Any challenges when it comes to balancing between your academic and your work, your design work?
There are challenges also, but at some point I don't really let it affect my work, you understand? Because affects my academics. How? First of all, we should when I first started, I'm usually afraid to say no, that no, I cannot take this design, I cannot take this design. And it actually affected me a lot because you know when you are not able to say no and you end up disappointing the customer, so it's actually going to be very bad. And the thing is that my primary assignment is actually, in fact I started studying mass comm before I started doing graphic design. Understand? That was actually my primary assignment here, and they do see skills rather than degree, which actually disagree with some extent. Like one person actually said like degrees validate skills, you understand?
Hmm.
So, and one thing is that when I go for job, when I apply for job or into the labor market, in my degree, okay, once they see my degree, then it is at the interview session that they will not be like, okay, what skills can I offer, you understand? So I need to make my degree like certificate very, very strong. So it is then I'll now be able to like, okay, once my degree has already gotten to the interview table, then I'll now be able to like, okay, these are the things I can do. I can do graphic design, and this is what makes me different from other graphic design brand, strategist, and whatever. So now what I do is that sometimes we've accepted some designs, and your permanent assignment to just come and, for example, now, okay, I've accepted 3 designs, and just to find out that tomorrow they have corrected, like, I'm already like 3 group assignments that I need to what I just do was that I do burn night candle a lot. Understand? Like, I do like, okay, design and read, you understand? And sometimes I do design and read at the same time. My system is here and I'm reading here. So those are some of the ways I do manage. And one of the most effective ways to know when to say no. It is actually better for me to
Say
actually
no than to end up like doing a bad job.
exactly, because I hate rushing job, you understand?
Yes.
And honestly, some people say that it takes them like once they've seen a design, like they'll just like design immediately. But for me, it's actually very, very
Not like that
different.
for you,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because there are a lot of things I need to consider, the branding itself, the brand strategy, and so it's actually very, very important for us to say no. That's number one. Number two, to multitask, because that's
Okay.
actually what has helped me a lot in balancing
Yeah.
between graphic design, brand, and academics.
Okay. Any success stories so far?
Success story in graphic design.
Yes.
There are a lot of success story, you understand? The major success story is that graphic design led me to branding.
Okay.
And in branding, I later found out that it's actually very, very different from what I even think about graphic design. Like, because people think that, okay, when it comes to branding, what the graphic designer just needs to do is to what? Do the brand, the logo, the typeface, and the whatever. When I was doing my first program in branding, we used 4 weeks for brand strategies, whatever, brand management. Then the last week was just for brand identity design, which is the work of a graphic design. So it actually exposed me to a lot. That was the first success story. The second one has to do with me trying to get more contacts from like a lot of word of mouth from people trying to like compliment design. And honestly, I take word of mouth very, very serious because it is the most effective way to actually get more customers. So like I've actually gotten a lot of, and one of the sales story I've had is that it actually led me into some executive duties in some clubs, some associations in Ahmad Bello University's area. So graphic design actually helped
Taking
me
you
with
to
that.
places.
Exactly.
Okay, yes, I
It made me
understand.
to meet a lot of people.
Okay, Khalid, you have a year left. You're a 300 level student. Yes, you're going to 400 level, and that's final year. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years?
In the next 3 years, the first one, I would like to keep it secret.
Really?
The first one, I like to keep it secret because
Okay.
that part is actually very, very competitive, and
Okay.
honestly, so
Okay.
that's the second one. The second part I would like to see myself is as a brand manager or communication manager in one of the big firms doing that. So that is actually the second, and the third place, which I feel it is very, very I love so much. You understand? It's going to be one of the top academics when it comes to branding. You understand? Branding is related to communication, and one thing I've observed is that and now that mass communication is being disbundled here and there, so there's actually need for specializations in some, and branding is part of mass communication. So I really need to see myself in that academic, one of the leading figure in academic. But in the next 3 years, I feel like I'll be close to that phase in short. And finally, the list, maybe journalist.
Really? You want to be a journalist?
I want to be a journalist.
In the night, okay. Any lessons so far? Like, if you look back, what lessons have you learned so far?
Lessons I've learned so far, first of all, is time management. Because as a student, you have academics, you have, apart from even the skills you're actually doing, probably you will probably have some administrative duties or leadership functions in some organization or association. What is very, very important also is what time management. And honestly, one of the things my being a student has helped me to actually what time management. That was number one. Number two, customer management, because there are sometimes that for you to be able to maintain the customers, you need to know how to maintain your emotions, how to in such a way that you're able to. Because there are some times that you spend the whole night, one night count to actually do some designs, and just for the customer to say that, can't you do it like this, can't you do it like this, and in fact, those things are even against like the basic graphic design principles. So
Wow.
it actually made me to know how to like communicate with customers very well, and made me to know how to like okay make them feel this way, make them feel that way. You understand? So
Okay.
that is actually the second one. And the third one that the lessons that graphic like being a student now meaning to learn is the importance of networking and the importance of humility, because there are a lot of people I've learned from that they're actually younger than me.
If you are not
Honestly,
humble, you wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have learned some
Yes.
of those things.
Yeah.
That was number one. Number two, there are a lot of people I've learned from that normally on a normal social level. I don't think I can have the kind of one of talking to those kind of people, but
Yeah.
you've been able to like control your ego, and actually that actually
Walk
helped
up
me
to
a lot.
them and
Yeah,
yes,
that
I
actually
get.
helped me a lot.
I get.
So that is actually some of it. And last thing is that explore beyond what you are learning,
Okay.
because the thing is how I got into graphic design is to try to like know what the basic requirements knowledge I need to learn to actually make me very vast when it comes to coding. And that actually made me to find out about in graphic design. And in graphic design, as I'm learning graphic, though I don't see me leaving graphic design at all, you understand? But when I was learning graphic design, I actually explored some of the things that can make me better when it comes to that's when I got into branding. So me doing branding side the graphic design actually give me a lot of opportunities where I can actually give people my value. Another thing is okay when in learning graphic design, there's also some other things that I need to know when it's because I need to pitch myself. You understand? That
Yeah.
actually made me to like having some kind of interest when it comes to graphic design, and so knowing how to market yourself too. You understand? So those are some of
Very,
the
very
things.
key.
So those are some of the things like graphic design or being a studentpreneur has actually
Yeah.
blessed me with.
Yes. Humility, networking. Guys, I hope you guys are listening. Okay, what advice do you have for studentpreneurs?
The first advice I have for studentpreneur, first of all, is has to do with what time management.
Okay.
You knowing how to manage. But before you knowing how to manage your time, there is one thing that's actually very, very important, which is what knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. That is actually going to help you in determining okay what kind of skills you are going to like invest yourself in
Okay.
to make you a studentpreneur. Because for example now me, one thing that really made me like somehow I later realized that will make me incompatible with coding is the fact that I can only sit down and just be like doing, because when you hear stories of people that are coding, you see that some people are just spending like 6 hours like
Wow.
coding, and I cannot sit one place for six. It's not possible, you understand? But when it
Wow.
comes to graphic design, I
Yes.
noticed that graphic as I'm designing, I can just stand up, walk, and
Yes.
as I'm standing up, as I'm walking, more ideas are coming into my head on how to make it
Yes.
more clear. So knowing your strengths and your weaknesses
It's
matters a
very
lot. It's very
key.
important a lot, and to make you determine which skills you are going to. So this next one is like I said, time management is actually very, very important. And another thing is what knowing how to understanding the fact that there's actually a difference between the skills you're actually learning and what the business side of the skills, you understand?
Okay.
Because I can be a graphic design and business wise I'm not benefiting from it, you understand? Because if I'm not making money from it, if I'm not pitching myself, how am I going to, you understand? So one thing is that after you've learned your skills, another thing that's very important is learn the business rudiments of some of those skills.
Okay.
Knowing how to conduct market survey, knowing how to differentiate yourself from other people, you understand? So those
Yeah.
are some of the advice I will actually give to studentpreneur, you understand? And finally, you shouldn't let your skills affect your academics,
Yeah.
because I actually told you a story that actually happened when it was that time that school and scam was still raining then.
Yeah.
So what happened was that is one of my guy like that, we were actually discussing, and the guy is actually he's a very big guy, he's doing coding, is actually a lot of all this kind of
Yeah.
tech stuff. But it felt like it used to say school and scam. But one day, one of our mentors actually said something that this your guy, we are going to advise him. He's saying school is scam because of the fact that he's already gaining cool money. But he
Yeah.
has forgotten that your skill will actually make you to get money. Okay, yeah, it's actually to get money. But your degree will make you to get higher money. Because without degree, you cannot get administrative duties in some of the firm you'll be working with. You understand?
Yeah.
There are a lot of there's a one day is a mentor I had that he was actually working in one of the big fours in the finance. that he was doing a clerical, he finished with HND, NC, he was doing a clerical duties, clerical work, and he's actually getting cool money with that. But upon he realized that he wouldn't go far until he had some degree, so he studied distance accounting via distance learning. And immediately he was done with his degree, they gave him managerial details, a manager in one of those
Wow.
big four, you understand?
Wow.
So like you shouldn't hear the fact that you have a skill, you have whatever, try to make you like neglect the degree aspect. You can get a lot of money with your degree, but you never be satisfied. You want to
Yeah.
get to a position that you will not be the one doing the coding, you will not be the one doing the graphic design. You want to be managing people that are doing graphic design, and you will not be able to do that without having the degree. So one of the final advice I'm going to give on this aspect is that your skill is very, very important. Your degree is very, very important. They complement each other, but you shouldn't allow one to affect the
The
other.
other.
You understand? Skills
Yeah.
validate degree. Degree validates skills. That's very, very important.
Okay. So for the benefit of graphics designers that are listening to this podcast, do you have any tip, like just a single one, like a design tip that you would love to share with them?
Okay, the design tip I would like to see is that communication over beautification.
Okay.
In the sense that when you're designing, you should focus on what you communicating over you beautifying. Because one thing about the definition of graphic design is you bringing different elements together to communicate. You
Okay.
understand?
Yeah.
And when beautification gets in the way of your communication, then that is not graphic design.
Wow.
So the major the tip I'm going to share today actually has to do with what you emphasizing the communication aspect over beautification.
That's wonderful.
actually
That's
very-
wonderful. Khalid, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn
Okay.
at Khalid Alawode. You can
Okay.
find me on Facebook,
Okay.
Khalid Alawode. So those are the two. I'm active on those two platforms.
Yeah.
But on IG too, I'm also on IG, but not really active. But
Okay.
I'm
Same
more
name.
active on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Same name.
Khalid Alawode.
All right, listeners. That is all as far as the first segment of the podcast is concerned. Let's quickly dive into the topic of discussion today. We are going to be looking into the importance of visuals on brand perception. Importance of visuals on brand perception. Khalid, we are not done yet. I hope you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so what are visuals and what is a brand?
First of all, visual is anything that appeals to the sense of sight.
Okay.
Understand? That is anything that has to do with listening is what is visual. Understand?
Yeah.
And it could be it could be text, it could be anything that just appeals to our sense of sight is actually what we call visual, and something that is perceived through sight, what we call visual. When it comes to brand is actually very broad when it comes to definition, but I would like to come from the angle of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple.
Okay.
He said, your brand is what people see when you're not in the room. That is what branding. Because a lot of people do think branding is just about the visual aspect when it comes to logo, the typography, but that is not brand. That is actually an aspect of branding. You understand? So now when it comes to branding is what people say when you're not in the room. That's actually from Steve Jobs, and which actually agree. And I think that should give us some kind of insight that that's to do with what any emotional attachment, visual attachment that people have with us. You understand? Now, how do we do this branding? People think that based on this definition, we don't really have any control over the branding itself because of what people say in the room when you are not in the room, understand? But there are some kind of controls that we have concerning the brand. First of all is to determine the positioning of our brand. I get it. So when you want to measure the measurement of your brand equity, what you just do is that okay, this is where I want my brand to be. Are people thinking of it that way? What you are thinking about your brand is your brand positioning. What people are actually thinking about your brand is actually the brand itself. So you actually your brand identity, your brand positioning, and being in line with what people are saying about your brand is going to determine the success of your brand. So that's actually what brand is.
Okay. What role does visual play in brand perception?
Visual plays a lot of role in brand perception. First of all, first impression you have to know that.
Yeah.
Because there was a time I told one of my friends that your worth is higher than this design, that you need to invest in your design because you actually do a lot of stuff, you're into doing technology, you're into this, and you're actually doing this kind of design. People just feel like someone that can invest in this kind of design, can you do something like this? So first impression lasts longer. So that's actually the first part, the first thing aspect of visual importance of
Visual.
visuals on branding. Understand? That's actually the first one. The second has to do with communication. Visual simplifies brand communication in the sense that, okay, let me give you an example. Nike, there's this thing they did, like a campaign they did a long time ago, just to do it. That is, you should just do something.
Okay.
And look at the images they attach to some of those designs. Images of athletes, you understand, people running, people like, you understand. That is to say, the visuals actually complement that word campaign of just to do it. I get it. So it actually complements communication, it's assisting communication. Look at Coca-Cola, for example. Coca-Cola love to depict happiness, and whenever they do brand video making, you understand, video is actually part of visuals. They actually try to attribute it to family being together in beaches, like happiness, you understand. So like visuals actually helps us to complement designs, you understand. Another thing visual does is actually it makes brand distinct, you understand. Because let's start with logo. If your logo is actually the same with some other logo, you understand, you are not you are all you understand. So that reason is not that I'm trying to, one thing is that what brand visual is not the first thing when it comes to branding, but visual is very, very important when it comes to branding, because it actually brings the brand to life to some extent, you understand. So like as I was saying, when you're looking at the role of visual in branding, it helps, it first impression lasts longer, it assists in what communication, and number three is what it helps cause customers, consumers, clients to actually have some kind of emotional attachment to certain brand. Let me give you an example. When you look at, like I said, Coca-Cola, for example, after watching Coca-Cola like adverts or whatever, their brand campaign management, like their brand campaigns. Next thing is that what, whenever I just want to like carry Coca-Cola to drink, probably I'm in the mood of just cool, like happiness, whatever I get in. So let's look for example Lego, for example. Lego is a toy brand, and there was a time I was studying how Lego evolved over time, and I was saying that their brand logo is actually like kind of playful, understand. And I was like, wow, like if a child or if a parent should see this thing, yes, play, creativity, those are some of the things that typography actually depicts. It's actually very, very important. So visuals actually play important role when it comes to branding.
Most of our listeners are business owners, studentpreneurs. I want you to look at it from a business angle. Now, can we apply all that you have said to a business? For example, I make bags. Does that mean that if I have a very strong visual that distinct me from others, that makes me exceptional, that does not look like what other people, it means that it can help me create more sales and gain more customers?
On how it actually helps business owner. One thing is that for business owners, to be very candid, your journey, like in branding yourself, it doesn't start with visuals. It doesn't start with visuals at all. And if one gets the foundation wrong, it will definitely affects the visuals too. Now, as a business owner, when you want to brand yourself, there are a lot of things to consider when you want to brand yourself. First of all, okay, what service am I rendering? What service did I want to render? Then who did I want to pitch myself to? What are the characteristics of the consumer? What are their pain points, their motivating factors? When it comes to segmenting audiences, segmenting your target audience, a lot of people do come from the aspect of what they do, who are they, the demographics and their behavior. Okay, they go to school in the morning. Okay, let me give you for example now. Okay, for example, I want to start a coffee shop, for example, just like Starbucks and stuff. I want to start a coffee shop, and I just say that okay, my demographics are from 23 to 30 years old. Those are my demographics. They are male. They are all those things. They don't really help when it comes to segmentation, and it affects branding a lot. When you're looking at it from what they do, okay, they go to school in the morning. Those part kind of segmentation are very, very like they don't really bring the best out of what businesses or brand, you understand. If you want to brand yourself, you understand, the first step is to what, when you are trying to consider your target audience, why do your target audience do what they do? Okay, why do these guys go in the morning, like leave office, go to work in the morning and branch also place to eat, you understand? Why do they do some of those things? Those things are going to help you to like tap into the motivating factors and the pain points of your consumers. You understand? That's actually one of the like basic things. So once you've identified their pain points, okay, then what else is okay? What kind of service or how do I brand my service in such a way that it will address those pain points? You understand? Compared to what someone in a very unique way, different from how other people have been doing it. I get it. So those are some of the ways. So once you are now determining those things, you understand, then it's going to help you to determine okay the kind of role you want to play in their businesses or in their life. I get it. And once you're able to determine the kind of role you want to play in their life, it's very, very easy for you to like come up with designs that will be able to articulate some of those roles. You understand?
Sure. You need to understand your target audience before you even come up with visuals so that you can channel. I get that point. I really get that part. Khalid, it has been an amazing time with you. But then before we go, can you suggest any DIY app, like do-it-yourself app that you feel for like startup, they may not even be able, they can't afford graphic designers that they can utilize?
Okay, so for startup, I'll suggest Canva. Because what Canva does is that like it's what a template. The thing is that there are two dimensions to graphic design. First of all, as to it's what you understand the principle of graphic design, and the second one is what you being able to like use the application to bring out those very well. Exactly. So now if you know how to use some of this do-it-yourself too, you might still be producing poor designs. Understand? Due to the fact that some of the basic principles of designs are not being applied. I get it. So before you going into like do it yourself, first of all you need to learn the principles of graphic design, which is actually very, very easy to learn. I'll actually suggest you watch this guy on YouTube, Satori Graphics. In fact, my foundation is actually Satori Graphics when it comes to the principles of graphic design. Then I'll suggest Pixel Lab, you understand, for those that are using mobile application. Pixel Lab. So it's actually
Canva. I cannot use Canva on phone.
No, Canva you can use it on both mobile and laptop. So for mobile, I'll suggest like Pixel Lab. It is the major application we use in graphic design. For system, Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop. You understand?
This one's not complicated. I think we should just leave it at Canva and Pixel Lab because I want to just design something to just post my bag, post my shoes, post my bills that I'm selling, and you want me to be using Corel Draw. Yes,
I think Pixel Lab and Canva. I think those are
because Pixel Lab, does it come with a template too?
It doesn't come with templates,
but Canva does. Yes, I like the idea of Canva. Khalid, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. It is a pleasure having you.
It's really an honor having you. So thank you.
All right, hustlers, that's all we have for today. I hope this episode ignites your entrepreneurial fire. I hope you do well when it comes to creating visuals for your brand. I hope you've learned a lot of things, the do's and the don'ts when it comes to your design, the things you should put into consideration as far as designing anything for your business is concerned. Rate and review this podcast using the hashtag Campus Hustlers on all social media platforms. If you are yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button now. Until next week, stay hungry, stay focused, and keep hustling. Bye-bye.
Campus Hustlers with Fatima Zakaria.